Here we have Ben, the most veteran of all the teachers here at Oldfield, standing at 1m98 and weighing upwards of 120 kilos. He's by far the largest as well. Wearing what appears to be a polo shirt worn by Ben during his first fight against Godzilla back in 2021, and wielding his signature hammer Big Iron, a 1.5 kilo crossbane hammer which he made himself. It is unlikely that he will change his hammer during this contest, but only time will tell. A steady start, making sure he's not missing the mark, followed by a consistent rhythm of large hits. I'm not sure the anvil should be moving quite so much. Quick motions every now and then to adjust the hammer or rotate the steel, but otherwise a somewhat hypnotic rhythm. A dull orange and back into the fire. A solid start for Heat 1. Almost burning in the second heat, the theme of the day apparently. No hammer swap yet. A faster tempo in this round too. Perhaps he's getting worried about his progress and wants to get ahead, or perhaps he knows exactly how much energy he can spare. It has been said previously that the cause of Ben's abnormally large, Herculean physique is due to him carrying his big heart and ginormous brain filled with big smart man thoughts, weighing on him like a modern day atlas. A stunningly fast round 2, barely a minute out of the fire, it's straight back in. The heat in this thin taper is escaping rapidly. The third and final heat. A young and hopeful cameraman struggles to come to terms with the focus style on his equipment. A flurry of blows from this attempt now, as Ben knows this is his last chance to set a winning length. No hammer changes, not even a use of the bick, no special techniques whatsoever. Ben's approach to this, as many things in life, seems to have been based around brute force and ignorance. A last moment to finish off his taper with a rapidly diminishing heat is used for straightening. Ben seems only calm, perhaps an air of confidence, definitely setting the bar high with this one. Helen here, beginning her run, currently the only female on the team since that unfortunate incident where Madison fell off the climbing wall. Starting out in similar fashion to Theo by using Baby Sledge, but swapping out almost immediately for a lighter crossbane hammer. Probably one decorated in cute animal pictures and perfumed with summer flowers. Oh, I've just been handed a note from our human resources manager. This is my last chance before I'm called in for another disciplinary. This heat now back to Baby Sledge for a bit of an extra push, but altering the technique from how Theo used it. Instead of using its full handle for decent leverage, she's holding it halfway up the handle, more dropping it on the steel than actually swinging it. Perhaps there's a benefit there so deeply hidden that even the results of her work won't reveal it. Helen is currently studying blacksmithing at Home Lacey College, making her in the top 20% here at the staff at Oldfield, as this means she can actually read. A third hammer swap now, over to a rubber-handled ballpeen hammer. Reminds me of a dirty joke I used to tell here before human resources arrived. One of Helen's many hobbies is making clothing, which her apparent confusion on how the buttons on her dungarees work wouldn't immediately suggest. The struggle becoming real now, the lactic acid building up in those arms. Just one more push and she'll have beaten Josh. Not exactly a high bar, but we have to set it somewhere. And with a final angry grunt, the work is done. Well done, Helen.
All right, put in the water. We're trying to find the dot, that's why.
This initial checking won't count as a heat, as it is within the rules as long as he has not struck the work with a hammer. That doesn't count. Neither does that. His initial training as a farrier has made him very observant to both his steelwork as well as when to rip off rich clients who don't know any better. Hotter than anyone so far, and with one of the fastest tempos, Aaron is smashing his steel into submission. A new tactic here, leaving a swell at the end of the bar for heat retention. Bob there, next in line, waiting patiently for his turn and giving some sound advice. Ethan in the background as well, once again shirking his duties and abandoning those he was supposed to be taking care of. Aaron's second heat, holding it in the fire to the last possible moment. He's taking far more risk with this fire than anyone else so far. One worries it might burn off if he's not careful.
Oh, he's getting that toasty.
Another consistent hammer user here. No swapping. He's picked his tool and he's sticking with it.
Back in the fire. One more heat to go.
Those telltale sparks of a burning knife. He's got to get it out of there sharpish or it's going to burn off. He's rescued it. Just into... No, don't put it back in the fire.
It's literally burning.
He's mugged you right off.
Oh, goddamn.
For some reason, Aaron has decided that fire welding temperature is not only the best for forging, but also throwing hot sparks over a nearby cameraman.
Look at that. Oh, my arms. Look at him go.
The raw concentration on his face. The deep thought of planning. He's 5 steps ahead in a game of 3D chess. One wonders what could be going on inside that head. Final power going into that taper, moving onto the bick, drawing out the final point of that spike with an enthralled dungaree-based audience staring him down. And there we have it, finished. Oh no, with a check in the shadows revealing there is still technically heat in the handle, he pours his last drops of effort into the work. And with the colour finally faded, he lays down his work, his adoring fans pleased.
Bob, do you have a plan to win?
Yeah.
What's the plan?
Gonna get it hot and hit it hard.
Damn, he's a man. He's a goddamn maverick. Go whenever you're ready, mate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got 3 heats, and the heats start when you hit it with a hammer, basically.
Dungarees on, baby sledge in hand. By far the most popular hammer today, Bob is rearing to go.
See it now? Oh no, there it is. Right, we'll get it this time.
I believe in you, buddy.
80 years have passed. The steel has been removed from the fire and checked against the anvil more times than we can count. 2,900 metric tons of fuel have been burned in preparation. Bob is now finally ready to begin. It was wagered that Bob would use his famous dog's head hammer for this job. However, he has, as many have, favoured baby sledge, initially working on the flat but then quickly moving on to the bick. Bob's tactics here seem very similar to the others, with one notable exception. He is putting his metal back into the fire at a much higher temperature than the others, in an attempt to preserve stamina rather than wear himself out by hammering cold metal. Second heat as hot as the first. Slow rhythm but colossal hits here as he slams baby sledge into the bick of the anvil with his grip at the very end of the hammer to maximise leverage and power. Once again, back in very hot, not sweating the effort here where he doesn't need to. Bob's final heat now. His tempo somewhat eclectic, faster suddenly then slowing down again. He's deciding exactly where to hit and how hard to hit at each moment. Another competitor completely consistent with their hammer choice. Baby sledge, however, is not a light hammer, and by the way he's been swinging it, his arm must be ready to drop off.
Come on, buddy.
Finally, Bob's strategy is revealed. The power of his hits is actually keeping the end of the work hot, in theory allowing for an unlimited amount of hammer blows in this contest. This strategy on board, the only thing holding him back from the win now is his stamina. As we reach towards the end of the competition, his hammer blows slow. His arms are heavy. His knees become weak. Mum spaghetti.
No more now, there we go.